Hi friends, this is Dr. Anugraha here. So in this class, we'll be talking about the causes of cancer. It's going to be a very short and crisp class. Alright, so causes of neoplasia. Broadly speaking, why does neoplasia occur, guys? It could be because of radiation. It could be because of microbial agents. Like what are the microbial agents which may cause cancer? Human papillomavirus, Epstein-Barr virus, right? Okay, chemical agents like tobacco, benzene and all that. So yeah, let's start with radiation. You know, the radiation coming from the sun, ultraviolet radiations, it's of three types, A, B and C. C actually doesn't reach our earth because we have our ozone layer to protect us. Now A, see, in case, suppose C, if it reaches us, again that can also cause cancer. We'll talk about that. So ultraviolet type A radiation, it causes which cancer, dear? Yeah, it causes AML. What is AML? What is the full form of AML? Acute myeloid leukemia. Now, ultraviolet type B radiations, it can cause, see, all these are one-liners which may come for your Neet PG. Now, ultraviolet, so you don't have to go so much deep into it, just, these are one-liners, so we'll just brush it. All right. Ultraviolet type B radiations, it causes which cancer? It causes thyroid cancer. Again, thyroid carcinoma, we have different varieties out of which ultraviolet type B radiations, they cause papillary carcinoma of the thyroid. What is it here? Papillary carcinoma of the thyroid. Very important. Okay, and suppose, let's say, if ultraviolet, I told you there are three types of ultraviolet radiations, A, B and C. If C reaches us, then the people living here on earth, they are prone to get leukemia. But C, ultraviolet radiation type C, usually doesn't enter our earth because we are protected by the ozone layer. So again, repeat after me. Type A, ultraviolet radiation type A causes what? AML. Type B causes what? Thyroid. Thyroid cancer, papillary. All right. Okay. Now, what are the chemical causes? Chemical agents which cause cancer. Tobacco. Of course, you all know now tobacco causes cancer. Which cancer here tobacco causes? It can cause oral cancer. It can cause lung cancer, head and neck cancer. Also remember, tobacco causes renal cell carcinoma. It can affect the kidneys as well. Very important. Okay. It causes renal cell carcinoma. So don't smoke. Yeah. Next, OCPs. See, excessive use of OCPs can cause which cancer? You will remember it this way. From C, you will remember that excessive use of OCPs can cause cervical cancer. What is it here? Cervical cancer. Fine. Now, comment, excessive production of estrogen in the body or synthetic estrogen intake can cause which cancer in women? Okay, I won't tell you the answer now. You comment it. Okay, yeah. Now, benzene. Okay, benzene and benzene. People get confused with it. A chemical called benzene causes which cancer, dear? It causes AML. Okay, it causes AML, blood cancer. And benzene causes which cancer? Benzene causes urinary bladder cancer. Urinary bladder cancer. Now, how will you memorize this? See, both of these look similar, benzene, benzene, and during exams, don't get confused. Benzene has got a D in it, Benzene has got a D in it, and urinary bladder also has got two D's in it. So benzene causes, the exposure to benzene chemical causes what? Urinary bladder cancer. Benzene causes what? AML. Very simple now. Okay, we'll come to Ames test. Okay, this is very, very important slide. All right. Every question paper, alternative papers, they tend to ask you this question. Now, asbestos, see, it is a mineral that we come across in shipyard industry, cement industries and all that. Very important. So the question itself will mention that a person was working in shipyard industry or cement factories, and what kind of cancer he's prone to get. All right. So asbestos, excessive exposure to asbestos can cause which cancer here? It can cause lung cancer. Okay. Now, most common lung cancer because of asbestos is what? Adenocarcinoma of the lung. Okay, adenocarcinoma of the lung. And most specific, if the question comes, which is the most specific cancer associated with asbestos? That is what, dear? Mesothelioma. Okay, mesothelioma. See, both of these you will be learning, we'll be learning it in detail once we come to lung chapter. Now, see, adenocarcinoma means, you know what? The cancer, suppose I'm drawing a lung here. See, adenocarcinoma means the cancer will be at the center of the lungs, okay, from the lungs. Whereas mesothelioma of the lungs, it means the cancer, where does it occur, guys? Mesothelioma means the cancer will start from the pleura of the lung. Okay, that's all you should know. Fine, so that's a very important question. Okay, asbestos, most common cancer that it causes is what? Adenocarcinoma of the lung. Most specific is mesothelioma. All right. Now, very, very important but simple. Ames test. This can come in your theory papers, okay, not for Neet PG. For Neet PG, they might ask you what is the bacteria that we use in Ames test. That's all maybe. But it may come in your theory papers or preparing for, exams. MBBS exams, it may come as a 2-mark question. So we'll read this. Ames test. What is Ames test, dear? See, Ames test means this. What is the aim of this test? What is the aim of this test? Why do we do this test? To know, suppose, let's say I got a chemical X. Okay, I'm just naming my chemical as X. So I want to know if this chemical causes cancer. To find if a chemical causes cancer, we do this Ames test. That is, Ames test is to find the carcinogenic potential of a chemical. Repeat after me. What is Ames test? This test helps us to find if a chemical has got carcinogenic property. Matlab, if a person comes in contact with this chemical, can it cause cancer in that person? That is what we are checking. Now, before explaining what this is, see, you should know that we have a bacterium called as Salmonella typhimurium. What is it, dear? Salmonella typhimurium. Now, normally this bacteria requires an amino acid called as histidine. Okay, listen to this part very carefully. Okay. Now, yeah, the Salmonella typhimurium, it requires an amino acid called as histidine for its growth. So this amino acid, it makes on its own, okay, and it uses this histidine for multiplication. Now, what we do is, okay, for Ames test, what we do is we take the Salmonella typhimurium and then in the lab, we mutate it. What do we do, dear? We mutate this Salmonella typhimurium. Now, why do we mutate it? Because, see, we mutate it in a way that this Salmonella typhimurium that we have mutated is now incapable of producing its own histidine. The mutated Salmonella typhimurium is incapable to produce its own histidine. This much understood? Now tell me, if it can't produce its own histidine, can it grow? No, it cannot multiply, it cannot grow. Okay. Now, the only way this mutated Salmonella typhimurium can grow is when the DNA of that bacteria gets mutated. See, ideally, the mutated form that we have created in the lab, the Salmonella typhimurium, it cannot grow because it cannot produce its own histidine. Now, if it cannot produce its own histidine, it won't be able to grow. That much is simple. Now, see, by any chance, if its DNA gets mutated, then this Salmonella typhimurium that we created in the lab becomes very arrogant and happy, and it says, my DNA got mutated. Now I don't need histidine for my growth. I can grow on my own. Without the histidine, I can grow. I can multiply. Okay. Now, the concept here is, listen this part very carefully. The concept here is, this sad mutated form of Salmonella typhimurium in the lab that we created, which cannot produce its own histidine, so it cannot grow, it cannot multiply, okay? But if we add any chemical to it, suppose let's say we got a chemical, okay? We add it to that bacteria, Salmonella typhimurium, and if this chemical has the capacity to cause mutation in the DNA of that bacteria, then the bacteria can grow even without histidine. Understood? Understood? Okay. Now remember, if this chemical is capable of doing that, if the chemical is capable to cause mutation in that bacteria, it means that this chemical is carcinogenic. What is it? This chemical is carcinogenic. So if something causes mutation in a bacteria or in a cell, then we assume that it is carcinogenic. Understood? This much understood. Now I'll tell you what is Ames test. Okay. So first what we do is we take the Salmonella typhimurium strain that we have mutated, okay, and we put it in a culture media. Okay. As of now, since it is mutated, it cannot grow, it cannot multiply because it does not make its own histidine. Now, see, I have a chemical with me. Okay, my friend has given me a chemical. I'm calling it as X. And my friend has asked me, Anugraha, just see if this chemical is carcinogenic. So what I do is I take that chemical X, okay, and I add that chemical to the culture plate. Now, if this X chemical, okay, if it causes mutation in this bacteria, then the bacteria, if mutation occurs in the bacteria because of the addition of that chemical, then the bacteria can grow, okay, and you can see lot of bacteria being formed, right? So in that case, if you see in the culture plate, if you see there is growth of Salmonella typhimurium, then it means that the chemical that you have added is carcinogenic. So no problem if you didn't understand the concept. I tried my maximum to make you understand, but it's okay. See, all you have to know is in Ames test, what is the bacteria that we use for this test? Okay, what is this test done for? Yeah, it is done to see the carcinogenic potential of a chemical. Okay, now which bacteria is used in this test? Salmonella, mutated form of Salmonella typhimurium. Now what is the interpretation? When we try to grow this bacteria in a culture media, and in the culture media we add that chemical as well, and if you see growth, it means that the chemical that you have added is carcinogenic. Understood? The chemical that you have added is carcinogenic. This much you understood? If you see growth in the culture media in Ames test, it means the chemical that you have added is carcinogenic. Understood? Okay. Now, okay, that's it. I think I have one question for you. I had actually typed one question here. Where is it? 1 second. Yeah, it's here. A retired shipyard worker presents with chest pain, pleural effusion. So retired means, see, he has crossed, he is aged, right? Such a person, if he comes with chest pain, pleural effusion, and shipyard worker, that is another catchword. So what is the diagnosis, dear? Is it adenocarcinoma? Is it TB? Is it mesothelioma or pneumonia? Since they have mentioned there is pleural effusion, I told you the tumor of the pleura is what, dear? That is mesothelioma. So the answer is mesothelioma. See, in asbestos, okay, what could be the possible exposure this person underwent? It is asbestos. Remember, the most common cancer associated with asbestos is adenocarcinoma, but the most specific cancer associated with asbestos is mesothelioma of the lungs, both of the lungs. All right, dear. So yeah, I'll see you in the next class. Take care. Bye bye.